Let's get smarter with the help of our lead-off team. Maggie Haberman is here, along with Jonathan Swan. Both cover the White House for the New York Times. They are the authors of the new must-read book, Regime Change, Inside the Imperial Presidency of Donald Trump. I am so glad you are both here. Miss Maggie, tell me how the Trump team feels about how all of this went, because I'll just tell you, I watched, and from the people I speak to inside the Trump zone, and it's more folks that are big GOP donors or more Trump 1.0, my phone was filled with that emoji that was like a face with a hand on it, or the green one where it's barfing.
So I didn't get emojis, Stephanie, but what I did get was from people inside the White House, actually very close to the president, who were quite happy with the speech, mostly because it did not go as far as it could have. There was a lot of anticipation, not just among Democrats, but among some Republicans, that the president was going to go so far to say that 2020, in fact, was stolen from him, that it wasn't legitimate, that senators who won in the runoffs from that year in Georgia were not legitimate. That didn't happen. And so what I got was, verbal relief emojis, for lack of a better way of putting it. But did it go the way some in the White House wanted it to in terms of changing the views of how everyone is looking at it right now? It did not. As you just pointed out, there were a number of things that were already public. There was nothing new significant in these documents. A lot of people did go into it with an open mind, which is what this White House keeps saying it wants people to do. We know, as you said, that there are vulnerabilities in the system. So far, the president has not done actions that would do much to address them. Here, in fact, the opposite. And mostly what stood out last night, Stephanie, is I heard nothing about how he plans to deal with this with China going forward. Instead, he talked about investigating his own government. But if he truly believes that China presents a huge threat to the U.S., then it would seem likely that there would be actions taken by him, and we'll see if that happens.
Then what's the bigger goal here for Trump, Jonathan? To influence the outcome of future elections, or yet again to relitigate 2020?
Very much the latter takes precedent over. Not to say that they don't want to pull every lever they can to try to help themselves in the midterms, but for Trump, it's about relitigating 2020. And one thing that's really important to understand is this is the culmination actually really of a 6-year effort. I mean, we have reporting in the book that in early 2021, Trump was telling people privately that he thought he could get reinstated as president that August of 2021. He had people around him encouraging that view. And then when he gets back into power, he starts pressuring his intelligence community very aggressively to try to come up with evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. So what you saw last night is their best effort. And as you can see, there is no evidence. They don't have any. And they had to bring in outside people to help with this. This is not an effort that is something that his core team is really enthusiastic about. There are very few people on Donald Trump's core team that are enthusiastic about relitigating the 2020 election. This is Donald Trump who wants to do that.
That's exactly what I want to ask about. When you say their best effort, Maggie, I turn to you. Who? Because there's a great political narrative for Donald Trump that says he won, America made a mistake, and he lost. We realized the error of our ways, and we put him back in office. One would think that his political strategy team would go with that story. So who exactly is pushing this? Because even last night's speech, he did not say anything new.
Well, there are primarily people who are outside the government, but there are some who are who are encouraging this, who share his view. Among the people, and you can look at his Twitter feed to understand it, John Solomon, who is leading this task force, this transparency task force that was never quite formally announced, although we broke the story that it was happening and that Solomon was leading it several weeks ago. They are looking to try to affirm this. That is what the point of these documents are. Bill Pulte, the head of the, he's now the director of national intelligence on an interim basis, temporary basis. He is very in favor of finding, according to all of our reporting, what the president is interested in. And in fact, we have very deep reporting in the book about just how Pulte managed to get so close to the president, just how he managed to tell the president that, he believed that the president's perceived enemies should be prosecuted, how good he was at making a case to the president that he could get things done fast. Primarily, though, as Jonathan said, This is not coming from Trump's core team. This is from people outside the government, some of Trump's top allies outside the government, like Steve Bannon, like a number of others. Most of Trump's core team, as Jonathan said again, don't think this is smart strategy. Smart strategy is talking about what voters are interested, and most of them are not interested in talking about 2020 again.
And when you say they're bringing in people from the outside, who's paying them to do this? Is this effort being backed by taxpayer dollars? Maggie?
Well, John Solomon is working supposedly without a salary. He's a special government employee, and he also runs a news website that he is said to have stepped back from, although he seems to be appearing in videos on it. But yes, taxpayer dollars are going to this because members of the intelligence community are working on it. I don't think that there are other people who are involved in funding this. This absolutely is requiring a fair number of resources. And I would just also note a number of news outlet resources went, regardless of whether the speech was aired live or not. Major news outlets did go through looking at these documents. Everyone that I know of spent a lot of time yesterday pouring through them. They simply don't say what the president said they do in his speech. And the reason we know they don't say that is that government officials who briefed reporters beforehand did not go as far as the president.
Then let me just ask you about a couple of those news outlets, Jonathan. In his speech, the president attacked ABC and NBC for not airing it live. And right there, he threatened their broadcast licenses. Do you expect him or Brendan Carr to seriously pursue this?
Well, Trump certainly wants that to happen. And it's again, this is not coming out of nowhere. This is the culmination of 14 months now, more than that, actually, of Trump pressuring his government to use every lever they can to get him better coverage from these outlets that he considers to be hostile. He's obviously already received major donations from these outlets, ABC, CBS, and he's just using every pressure. So far, Brendan Carr has been jawboning. We don't know what he's going to do. Obviously, he can't. It's more about the subsidiary networks, but we don't know what he's going to do with that.
Well, we'll be watching. Maggie, Jonathan, thank you both so much. And for you at home, if it's going to rain this weekend, if you're going to the beach, get this book, read it. It's going to blow your mind.